everyone. So I just spent hours in sketching out this drawing on cheap paper. Here is just Create Sketchbook. Here I got it at Walmart, I think. And I used Crayola, the kids version of Crayola pencils. And I love using Crayola pencils on this cheap paper. I don't know why, it just feels great. Fun doing it. You know, I like doing a sketchy kind of artwork sometimes with color pencil. And by the way, Sarah Renee Clark, with her latest video that I posted about earlier with the light fastness, she found that this kids version of Crayola pencils has great light fastness, very high, up there with the professional pencils. So don't hesitate to use these kids Crayola pencils for your artwork, because the light fastness is better than other more expensive brands, at least here in the US. I know the prices vary in different places. But the reason I'm making this video is, okay, I'm almost halfway done this. I haven't done the background yet. But I put layer upon layer, and of course it's cheap paper, and it's Crayola, so you can only do so many layers before it just, you know, not much more you can add on without getting all clumpy looking. So I was trying to figure out, well, what's the best way to blend this? And I know there's different things you can use, and one that I found, this is why I'm making this video, in case you do artwork with Crayola kids pencils. This is a Derwent blender pencil, but blender pen, but it was old and had, you know, been empty, so I refilled it with rubbing alcohol and just a little bit of glycerin, a little drop of water, and mix it all together. And this I found to be an excellent way to blend the Crayola color pencils. And I was going to show you. So this is all just the layers, all the layers I put on. As you can see, it's still very grainy looking because it hasn't been blended yet. So yeah, I just want to do show a little before and after so you can see how it turns out. And hopefully this turns out well. So let's see. I'm going to start with the blending. Again, this is mainly alcohol. You could use just alcohol too. I think works just as well. And I really like the Derwent pens because they're easy. It's easy to pull out the nib and refill it, so they last forever. You can make them last forever. Because again, it's really just the alcohol, the rubbing alcohol. And when you first put it on, because it's a lot of liquid coming out of this, the page looks a little gray, so her face here is going to look a little gray until it dries. So just to let you know, this is not how it's going to look. I'll put up a picture how it looks after it's all dried. But I put a lot of layers on her face, and as you can see in the picture, it's a very shaded picture, so, you know, how do you go in there with a lot of browns, almond? Actually, I used the Crayola color pencils have a great skin color set, as well as the regular, 100 or 120 you can buy. And so I use the almond skin tone. There's a couple of different versions of skin tones you can use. And the best match I found for this one was the almond. So a lot of dark almond colors I ended up using in this particular drawing. And even after I'm done with this blending, of course it's not finished yet, I go over it some more. Can blend it a couple of times, or at least to add more details, because the blending always blurs out everything. So I'll no doubt go back in and just add some more details of the eyelashes and hair. The hair will blend out, and then I'll have to go back in to add more strands to make it look more realistic. or just more like hair, because after you blend it, all the lines that you made just sort of blur together. So I just have to go back in and add another layer even after blending. But of course, the great thing with blending is you can add many more layers, usually, depending on the paper. Again, this is cheap paper, so it's not watercolor paper or anything. It's just regular cheap sketching paper. So probably only going to blend this once and just go over it again after maybe a little bit. I'm wiping it off in between when I go from the dark to the light areas, trying not to get the darker colors in the lighter areas as best I can. But it really breaks down the pencil very well. That's moving it around a little too well. I think I'm getting some splotchiness there. I'm going to have to go in and fix up later. And again, the paper's all wet now, so it's going to look darker and more grayer than the final, because this paper is not really made to get wet. It's not for wet medium. So it's sort of not handling it as well as a better paper would, but that's okay. I chose what I chose. I knew what I was doing. This drawing was just for fun. Anyways. Just for practice. I did use a lot of dark tones, and they're so shaded. So it makes it tricky with blending to not overlap the darker with the lighter. Usually the blender is very good about not blurring the colors, as long as you're careful not to, as long as you're not rushing around and just quickly going over it. If you're just careful, it's doesn't blur the colors too badly, even if you just go ahead and just go over the whole thing. But this alcohol is working really well with the Crayola pencils. So I'm very happy with the blending results here, how well it's blending. So here I'm not even trying to differentiate the light to the dark. I'm just going over it, and it doesn't, you know, the blender's good. It doesn't blur it too much, the dark and the light. Because these pencils aren't as, you know, pigmented as the more expensive ones. If this were like Prismacolor, that it might blur more because they are so much heavily pigmented. I have to be more careful with the blending, I think, in my opinion. And with skin, you could even have, it's okay to have a little bit of kind of graininess, just a little bit for the pores of the skin if you want to make it that detailed. So they are much better now. And I was going to do the hand in the background here as well. The sleeve. There. So pretty much done. I just have to fix this up because I used little circles, which I probably shouldn't have, and I made it more blotchy, so I'm going to have to go in and fix this. Now I'm going to, the paper is going to be, I got to be careful not to eat through the paper because, again, this is cheaper paper. So it's not handling this water so well. It's liquid. I should say it's not water, it's alcohol. But so I'm going to have to fix this up over here a little bit. But after I do that, I think that's, you know, otherwise this is going to be good. Kind of just going over a second time here a little bit. I can't do too much. But there you have it. That's how it looks with after being blended with alcohol on Crayola pencils. So I hope you found this interesting. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.